So here we are in the middle of summer. That means no snow, and today it's unfortunately rain up at the Lake Placid bobsled experience, but that doesn't matter. We're still gonna take this out for a ride.
All right, then just sit up nice and straight, hang on tight, keep your hands and arms inside the sled at all times. All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
And that's really what makes Lake Placid so unique to any other, destination in the Northeastern United States. It's the only place where you can actually take an Olympic bobsled ride.
At more than 50 miles per hour for a half mile, woo! It's a ride that'll make you feel like you're going for gold.
It may not look like golf, but it pretty much is.
Scoring's the same, except there's no golf carts and no funny looking pants.
Just like golf, you tee off, and when you're close enough, you do the equivalent of putting. But think of the discs as a combination of your golf club and ball, and they, like the sport itself, are a whole lot cheaper.
You only need a disc or two. They're $8 to $10 or $15 a tops for a disc. Most of the parks are free to play. Including
the brand new 9-hole expansion to the already existing 9-hole course here at Jeff Blatnick Park in Niskayuna.
Steps away from a makeshift memorial, this old building is finally seeing its demise. This man owns the auto shop right next door.
The building was falling apart.
The demolition may never have happened here today if a firefighter hadn't noticed a big problem.
The final straw came when bricks from way up there fell down here, luckily missing cars and people on the street.
19-year-old Otto Miller never saw himself in this position. A year ago, he moved from Queensbury to Maryland, ready to play on a college hockey team.
Everything was lined up so perfectly. First time in my whole life, my plan was going perfectly. My grandmaster plan. And then,
life throws you a curveball.
Yeah, one hell of a curveball.
A major snowstorm struck, and Otto, shoveling snow from a roof, fell. The impact severed his spine and left him paralyzed.
I assumed waist down, but then I'm like, my abs were gone, and I'm like, this is definitely going to be really interesting.
But when doctors delivered the news that would crush most people, Otto got motivated. Just ask his mom, Sarah.
She goes, Otto, your spinal cord is severed. You're never going to walk again. He goes, I will walk again. Now tell me what I have to do.
All right, 30 pounds, here we go.
What followed certainly wasn't easy, but Otto powered through, leaving the hospital in weeks, not months.
What's moving is my legs.
And fighting through rehab sessions to regain sensation and mobility.
I can feel deep pressure if you squeeze my legs, I can feel that. If your legs are responding to stimuli, that means they're trying to, they're sending signals.
And he didn't do it alone. The community stepped up in a big way, raising money and converting the family's garage into a living space.
I want people to know that I am, ever so thankful.
Recovery is also about getting your life back. Just last week, Otto, like many kids his age, surprised his parents with a wolf tattoo.
I figured, I was given a second chance at life. I'm not getting a third, so, just go with it.
It's a reminder of what he's gone through, and despite these challenges, he's still here.
Yeah, my life's harder, but there's always someone worse off than you, and that's what you have to keep in mind.
In Queensbury, Cody Holyoke, CBS 6 News.
It's a nice view. Even the ducks have moved in.
I live right by the cemetery and now lakefront property.
But Terry Stripling is happy to see the water in front of her home being drained away.
We believe that this year that's why our neighbors having a major issue with flooding.
It's estimated there's 1 million gallons of standing water, so bad it's closed the parking lot to Monument Park. And that's not the worst of it.
One of the main concerns has been at this historic cemetery. At one point, 2 of the headstones were completely submerged in water.
Shoulders relaxed, coming towards standing split position.
In this upstairs room at Good Karma Studio in Albany, it's impossible not to feel lighter, longer, or even like you're flying through the air, because you are.
Aerial yoga is a new form of yoga. There's lots of varieties out there nowadays, and it incorporates the use of the swing.
Instructor Jessica Lubin says even though you're literally hanging around, it's doing wonders for stretching out the body, all the while relaxing and releasing the tension of your day. Using this hammock or swing to lean, push, and pull.
One would definitely be to tap into that childlike
playfulness that we kind of lose as we get older and become adults. It is definitely strengthening in all new ways and more challenging sometimes than your regular mat practice.
I'd never tried aerial yoga before.
Make sure it's wrapped around your back.
I quickly realized my first challenge wasn't in any particular stretch, it was trusting the swing.
And that's really what the class is all about, trusting your swing, being patient with yourself.
Once I got over that, with a little instruction, the stretches came easy. Like with other types of yoga, the hardest work isn't getting into the pose, it's being able to hold it.
Oh, nice.
Now, the class I'm in happens to be all women, but lots of men do aerial yoga too.
And hands hold on right here.
Okay. Here's CBS 6 photographer Nick Inco giving it his best shot.
And now when you're ready, you can release your toes.
Lubin says there's usually 16 people to a class and they're offered to adults and kids. What's more, to accommodate its growing popularity, they're opening up a new studio in Saratoga later this spring.
Come in, suspend your disbeliefs, give it a try. Can't hurt.
In Albany,
namaste.
Julia Dunn, CBS 6 News.
Dennis Knopper has been in the Albany County Jail for 3 months on charges of forgery. And he spent a portion of that time doing what you do at home on your couch.
You can text through email, from Gmail and Yahoo, to your loved ones. They can send pictures.
The tablets connect to Wi-Fi.
Pandora's on this.
And allow the inmates to download music, videos, and apps.
They have games, which makes time go by faster.
They're part of a program launched by the jail about 2 months ago. They're operated through a company called Telmate. The tablets are available for use by all 623 inmates, unless the person is in trouble for bad behavior.
It has to be approved, first of all, and secondly, it's all monitored.
Sheriff Craig Apple says inmates can only chat with approved contacts on the outside, and says conversations are monitored by investigators and then stored.
Everything is kept for months and months.
There are 103 of these in the jail right now. One of our first questions, who paid for them?
The sheriff says not a single taxpayer dollar went toward the tablets. The inmates and their families can put money in an account.
You could go to the jail and put in $100 or $200.
The inmates are charged up to 5 cents a minute for certain services. The company that supplies the tablets takes a cut, and so does the county. But the sheriff says the tablet serves several purposes. First, he says the distraction is good.
When inmates are busy, you have a safer facility.
And second, he says it helps society.
I know that some people are going to sit back and go, wow, you know what, you're in jail, you should be paying the price, whatever. Jail is supposed to correct the behavior. It's not supposed to just, kill somebody in there.
As repair crews get a handle on the flood damage, the people who live here hope they take a good, hard look underground.
It comes here and then it gets stifled. And this is where it comes down through here.
The main culprit of this weekend's flooding is Woods Brook, which winds its way through the village using culverts and underground channels installed generations ago. Since then, bricks have come loose, stone supports swallowed up.
This is all lawn.
This was grass.
This was all grass, yeah.
Pam, a longtime homeowner on Hall Street, watched the brook overtake her yard yet again.
My concern is a heavy rain comes, all that dirt's going to wash out. The root system, as you see it now, is going to get weaker and the whole wall's going to cave in.
The problems aren't new. In fact, history shows us the brook almost always floods during heavy storms. And for years, the village and the state have talked about solving this issue. Village trustee Brian Bushner.
I wish we could just wave a wand and get it done, but what it comes down to is getting the funding to fix it.
Why hasn't this been fixed in the past?
Well, it's a tough issue. It's a complicated issue.
Mayor Rob Allen tells me funding is in the works, but says the brook is a bureaucratic nightmare.
It involves personal, private property. It involves village property. It involves being in the town. It would involve DEC. It would involve the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And it's always been one of those thorns in the sides that they've never quite been able to get taken care of, even though they've put substantial amounts of work into it.
The big question here in Hoosick Falls now becomes what happens next. The damage is clearly already done, but it's adding to the problems that have been bubbling up beneath the village for years.
I mean, if we have another substantial storm in the next few weeks, can we even take it? That's the sort of thing we're trying to figure out right now.
One thing's for sure, residents are ready for a fix now.
Come on in, take it over, and do it. You want my house, you can have it. Make it a park. I don't know, but this has got to be fixed because it's going to be much worse next time.
Oh yeah, and the house next to me has a tree through the garage.
It was a storm that turned the North Country upside down, from trees and power lines to trucks and roofs.
Queensbury resident Jason Cross says he's never seen anything like it.
It was just this constant roar of thunder, nonstop. It just kept, my wife is like, it won't stop, it keeps going. The glass was shattering. We have 4 cats and 2 dogs. They were running and scattering, and that's when I told my boys and my wife to get in the basement.
I was like, oh my God, or like, is a tree about to like crash into our house? Like, what's gonna happen?
Before heading below ground for cover, Jason's 13-year-old son Logan watched as a bolt of lightning struck a tree in his neighbor's yard.
There was just this big flash of just blue. It was like scary.
The Cross family and their neighbors have their hands full with cleanup. And they're not alone. Many people in both Queensbury and Kingsbury are dealing with destruction. This barn roof severed, shredded, and strewn across hundreds of yards. This truck flipped and fractured when winds ripped a nearby tree right from its roots.
We've seen, thunderstorms before and the power go out, but this is like the worst, I think this town has ever seen.